Gauteng Premier David Makhura is today expected to deliver South Africa's much-awaited economic hub State of the Province address. Covering that story for us is the SABC's Abongile Dumako. Abongile, a very good morning to you. What can we expect this morning?
Good morning, Days. I'm not sure if you can hear me because of the police band happening on my background, but certainly we are about to start. In fact, in an hour's time, David Makhura will take to the podium and speak to the citizens of this province and, of course, the greater South Africa, telling them about the plans moving on from this, financial year. The SOPA is to kickstart in an hour's time, but there are a lot of expectations from political parties. Among those is the IFP. I'm joined by its MPL here, Bonginkosi Dlamini. Bonginkosi, good morning to you and thank you so much for your time, sir. Your expectations in as far as the SOPA is concerned from David Makhura?
Good morning, Bongiwe and the listeners at home. There are no expectations at all. I'm just hoping that the Premier will not be tempted by the silly period of elections and try to election in the State of the Province address. I'm hoping that, one, he will recount all the promises that he made since he came into office in 2014, which are contradicted really by the protests that you see on the street and the dissatisfaction of our people. It has been empty promises, nothing. So I hope he will be honest with us and say what is it that he has been able to achieve and what is it not been able to achieve. One of the promises that he made was that, one, we were in Thokoza when he opened the first SOPA 5 years ago, and he promised that hostels are going to be converted into family units. Nothing has happened in Thokoza up to date, and I want him to account on that.
What is that you're going to do then to make sure that you push him as the ANC-led government to make the point that all those promises that are made are sort of implemented? Let's take a look, for example, that he said that he was going to implement, a force that will sort of see those who are implicated in wrongdoing within government offices sort of facing the music. I don't think we've seen that happen. What's the IFP's position moving forward? Yes,
when it comes to corruption, which is really one of the cancers that is eating away from our public payers, is that the Premier has done nothing. We've seen the recycling of corrupt officials move from one department to another, not really being dealt with. And as the IFP, all we're saying to Gautengers, we've got only 80 days to go to fire this government and hire a government that will be able to respond to them.
Are you ready though?
Yes, we are ready to be part of government.
What are you doing? What have you done to make it a point that at least this promise that you're saying you're going to bring to the fore and make sure that the government is voted out happens?
The IFP is the only party that South Africans can trust. Not one leader of the IFP has been found to be corrupt. In fact, if we found one, we don't even wait for the courts to judge on them. We just fire them. We don't recycle corrupt politicians. Therefore, South Africans can trust the IFP. Where we govern, we make sure that we deliver to our people. We're not the masters of the people, but we are masters of them. We respond to what people ask us to do.
Bonginkosi Dlamini of the IFP, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Well, Desiree, there you have it. Not expecting nothing new, not expecting anything out of the ordinary, says Bonginkosi Dlamini of the IFP. But he says that they are willing and they are going to make the point that they vote out this government led by the ANC in Gauteng. Anticipation is rife. Some of the people are hoping that he'll really touch base on corruption. He'll really give us a clear, way forward as to what's going to happen to those officials that, are found to be part of, escalating corruption through and through Gauteng. With that, for now, Desiree, is back to you in Auckland Park.
Abongile, while I have you on the line, we're interested to see, as you were speaking earlier about expectations, if Premier Makhura will touch on the issue of e-tolls, especially in relation to a letter that the ANC Gauteng sent to the President that touches on several issues, but the main one is where they say they really must say to you, Mr. President, that we're deeply disappointed at the fact that your speech said nothing about the scrapping of e-tolls. Have you, in this morning, been able to have any conversations with people who are attending to see just to get a sense of how they feel about this particular conversation?
In fact, I was hoping for this crossing, I was hoping to speak to Jacob Kawa, who is the very secretary of the ANC here in Gauteng, the very person who actually wrote that open letter to President Cyril Ramaphosa saying that they are disappointed that he has not sort of touched on that. As there's a lot of outcry, of course, you understand that from even the tripartite alliance, your SACP and of course your COSATU saying that, what, we are against these e-tolls. While, even in Gauteng, David Makhura, the chairperson, has spoken out to the media saying that they want to see the e-tolls being a thing of the past in Gauteng, something that is different from a national level. So at the same time, we are hoping again that David Makhura will touch base on what will be the ultimate way forward with regards to the e-tolls in Gauteng. But we understand that ANC in Gauteng in particular is not really happy, nor is it for the e-tolls in this province.
Abongile Dumako, thank you for that scene setter.